My books, The Origin of Names, Words, and Everything in Between, volumes 1 and 2, are available to purchase from most major booksellers in all major formats. Order your copies today so you can enjoy these books for yourself and help support the channel. Dragon Ball is, I'll be honest with you. I have minimal clue what Dragon Ball is actually all about. I've never watched the show or read the manga or interacted with the franchise in any meaningful way. All I know about it is things I've come across about it via memes and by being a nerd on the internet in general. There's a guy called Goku and he's over 9,000 or something, and sometimes there's a Z on the end of the name. Like I said, no freaking clue. I don't think it's bad by any means, I just have no opinion on it either way. I just never got into it and now it seems like there's just too much and I'd have no idea where to even begin. So why am I talking about this Japanese juggernaut of a franchise I know nothing about? Well, being clueless on a subject has never stopped me before, but there is another reason I'm diving into this strange world. And that's because the patron who suggested this video idea told me something absolutely fascinating and wild about one of the most celebrated names in Dragon Ball. Something so strange about this name that even I, someone who has no interest in this franchise, felt compelled to dive into this beloved series, research into it, and talk about it. I'm talking about the name of something that I've seen dubbed the signature move of Dragon Ball, which might not be true. Like I said, I have no idea on any of this, so I'm solely relying on the kindness of internet strangers for my Dragon Ball facts. But anyway, this is the powerful burst of energy, which is dubbed the Kamehameha. Fun name, right? To so many people, this name is linked exclusively with Dragon Ball, and that makes sense, right? It's a really cool sounding word to shout as you strike a cool pose and blast a beam of energy from your hands. This word has become so linked to Dragon Ball and Goku, many may even think that this was a name coined by the series creator, one Akira Toriyama. Quick side note, but this guy's so influential for Japanese popular culture. Not only did he create one of the most well-known manga/anime series of Dragon Ball, but he also worked as a character designer for many popular Japanese video games, including Dragon Quest, a franchise so popular in Japan that its publisher, Square Enix, made a decision to only release them on Saturdays so people wouldn't skip out on work or school to play them. Make no mistake, this guy's helped shape so much of Japan's image in the world of popular culture. Also must really like dragons or something. Anyway, tangent aside, despite creating so much, Toriyama didn't actually coin the name of Kamehameha. This name existed way before the creation of Dragon Ball and even before the birth of Akira Toriyama himself. And to make things even more strange, this word's origins has nothing to do with dragons or bulls or anime or manga or martial arts, and it isn't even a Japanese word. The word instead comes from the Hawaiian language. This is a language we've talked about before. It is of course from the islands of Hawaii, which are now a state of the USA but have a rich history unto themselves. It is actually weirdly similar to the Japanese language, despite both coming from completely different language families. So what does this word mean in Hawaiian? Well, it's actually a proper noun from the language, and it's a name belonging to one of the state's most celebrated figures, that being one King Kamehameha I, also known as King Kamehameha the Great. Yeah, Hawaii once upon a time had a royal family, something that the nation it is now a part of is quite against, to say the least. As mentioned, these islands have a seriously rich history. Kamehameha wasn't just any old king of Hawaii, he was the first king to rule a unified Hawaii. He took on this mantle in 1795 and was born probably in 1758. Prior to this, these islands were ruled by various different tribes, each with their own ruler. When Kamehameha was born, he had a different name entirely. His name was Paia. From his birth, he was pinned for greatness. Supposedly there was a Hawaiian prophecy that a light in the sky would signify the birth of a great leader, and Paia is thought to have been born in a year in which Halley's Comet passed over the islands. With this, he was hidden away to be protected and raised to be a fierce warrior. It was when he came out of hiding he took on the name of Kamehameha. The legend grew around him and he supposedly proved his worth by overturning the Naha stone, which can still be seen today. His mission was to put an end to the internal conflicts that were raging across the islands we now know as Hawaii and unify them all together. It was around this time that garbage human James Cook arrived on the islands too. He was actually beneficial to Kamehameha, and with the help of Western weapons and his own military might, Kamehameha was successful in uniting Hawaii, becoming the first singular king of this new Kingdom of Hawaii. He is now one of the most celebrated people from these islands, with multiple multiple statues of the man all across the state and the wider USA, including one in the National Statuary Hall in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. June the 11th is even Kamehameha Day in the state, where he is celebrated and those statues are draped with flower lays. He is dubbed Hawaii's greatest king. As mentioned, he was born with the name Paia and took on the title of Kamehameha. According to Wikipedia, his full title was, and bear with me on this one, Kalani Paia Wohi o Kalikini Kiliukui Kamihanihan, can say that one, O Lolani I Kai Wikapu Kawi Ka Liho Kuna Ikie? That's the best thing I get out of me. But let's just focus on that one name of Kamehameha, shall we though? What does this even mean? Well, remember how I said he was put into hiding to protect him at a young age? It's because of this as to why he took on this title, as Kamehameha somewhat translates into meaning the very lonely one, or even the one set apart. This is as mentioned because he was put into hiding from a young age, and it's easy to understand. Being a kid put into hiding due to a prophecy that you're going to be hugely important must be pretty darn lonely. Someone who isn't as lonely, however, is our man Goku, I think. Like I said, I have minimal clue, but I think he's a pickle for a friend or something. He is the most famous user of the Kamehameha move. So yeah, this quintessential manga-esque super move is named after a great king of Hawaii of all things. I can't help but feel that these two things are complete polar opposites to one another, and perhaps you really wouldn't expect the name of a Hawaiian king to be used in a fictional universe like the one in Dragon Ball, let alone it being used as a name for a powerful burst of energy. So how on earth did this burst of energy, beloved by so many, end up using the same name as a king of Hawaii? There's actually a couple factors that led to this happening. One of the biggest factors being what the first part of this name means in Japanese. Kame in Japanese means turtle. Yep, now turtles are being thrown into the mix. This is important because this move is taught at a martial arts school called the Turtle School in the Dragon Ball world, with the master of this school being called Master Roshi, known as the Turtle Hermit. He even has a turtle shell of his own, but I think it's more a backpack as opposed to actually being a part of him. Also, the Dragon Ball wiki, which has been hugely helpful in writing this video, describes Roshi as a perverted hermit and a master of martial arts, which is a hell of an introduction to this character for someone who knows very little. Some context about this in the comments would be appreciated, please. As he is seen as a turtle hermit and his school is so turtle oriented, it makes sense where the name of turtles, in Japanese at least, would appear in the name of this move he pioneered. As for the latter part of this name, the Hamiha part, that can mean something like destruction or wave in Japan. It's a seriously huge coincidence that this Hawaiian word translates neatly into 3 Japanese words. One Reddit thread on the subject matter says it comes from the Japanese hamatsu, which means destruction, and the Japanese ha, which means wave. These latter parts are somewhat debated, however, and might be more of a backronym to make the full name make more sense. But if we are to believe this, it would mean that this Hawaiian word of Kamehameha somehow and quite coincidentally means turtle destruction wave in Japanese, which is a very fitting name for a wave of destruction taught by some perverted turtle dude. While the first part of the name meaning turtle in Japanese is undoubtedly true and a huge coincidence, as mentioned, the latter part of the name meaning destruction and wave is a little more iffy. This wasn't just a coincidence, however, that it ended up being identical to the Hawaiian king's name. Series creator Akira Toriyama has himself said he borrowed the name from the king, thanking his wife for the suggestion. In one interview, he spoke about the name, saying, "For the name Kamehameha, I was wondering whether there was a decent name along the lines of something something ha. Then my wife said as a joke, Kamehameha would be fine, wouldn't it? So I used it as is. Of course, it's taken from King Kamehameha of Hawaii." There's also another story stating that Toriyama is somewhat forgetful, and this name would be easier for him to remember, perhaps because it was established in his mind as the name of that Hawaiian king. So really, the 3 main reasons as to how this king's name ended up being used as the name of this energy attack are because it translated roughly into meaning turtle destruction wave, with the turtle part being more valid, because it's easier to remember, and because, quite simply, it sounded cool, especially as a cool word to shout while shooting a beam of energy. It's a really wild story to say the least, and quite possibly it's one the fans of the series know all too well already. But as an outsider looking into into this strange world, I was completely taken aback by the wild juxtaposition of the name of an old Hawaiian king being used as the name for an energy beam. It's like finding out lightsabers are named after King Louis XVI of France or something. Maybe I should finally cave and watch or read some Dragon Ball to see what the fuss is all about. But out of curiosity, I checked to see if the other famous Japanese energy attack of the Hadouken from Street Fighter had a name of just as strange origins. Well, it simply translates into wave motion fist, with the ha meaning wave at the start of Hadouken being the same ha we see at the end of Kamehameha, also meaning wave. So maybe this name meaning turtle destruction wave isn't as dubious as I first thought. But as stated enough already, like 99% of my videos, I have no idea what I'm actually talking about. This video topic was suggested by Eric Southard over on my Patreon. Every Wednesday, I put up a video request post over on my Patreon for my awesome patrons to leave video ideas on. I then pick one of those ideas to be turned into a video the following Wednesday. So if you have a great idea for a Name Explain video and wish to enjoy Name Explain videos ad-free as well as get exclusive content and your name at the end of these videos, then why not support the channel on Patreon? It takes just $1 a month to help the channel in a huge way and gets you all of these amazing benefits. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos, and your name at the end of the video with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and once again, thank you all so much.